Okay, it's a real pleasure to call upon Jennifer Wiebe. Many of you know her. She's the Office Administrator for the Chamber of Commerce here. Thought it would be a great opportunity for Jennifer to come, give a little bit of background about herself, and get it direct instead of from me, and also tell us what's going on with the Chamber and things, and time for a question period to follow. So, Jennifer, please continue.
Okay, I have notes, but don't get scared. I have a timer. I thought I was going to be a preacher once upon a time, but don't let that scare you either. All right. So I was born and raised in a small town in Ontario called Erin that was very much like Neepawa. It could be a cut and paste for the community. So I grew up in Ontario, but don't hold that against me because I married a Manitoba man, so that makes up for that. My husband Clint is from the Edrins area of Manitoba, and I met him at Bible College, which, as Christine knows, is sometimes referred to as bridal college. And in my case, it definitely was. And so we were married in 1994, and we just had our 29th anniversary. And we got married and moved back to Manitoba for a few years, and my first job in Neepawa was at Zeke's. And I did engraving, and I remember doing a lot of engraving for Rotary trophies and plaques, and we were just talking about that earlier. But I really like to thank you for having me come and share a little bit about myself today and what's going on at Chamber, and thank the people that served us lunch today too. So we came back to Neepawa after 20 years, but while I was in Ontario, I was a homeschool mom for 8 years, and I taught my daughter all the way from grade 3 to grade 11, and she's now married in Ontario in her second year of nursing school. And being on a homeschool board that had 300 families in it, I thought to myself, well, I know what boards are like. I can take minutes. I did social media for them. I set up their website. And a job opportunity at the Chamber came up. And I thought, well, I could do that. I know what boards are all about. I think I can handle this. And now here I am doing all this stuff. So I started out doing 1 day a week with Barb, who I can't thank highly enough. She is a wonderful lady, and she has little shoes to fill, but they are mighty. And I appreciate all the things she did for me in the ways that she trained me for this job. And I was in the job for about 2 months, and COVID happened. And so all the businesses, everything shut down. So what do you do when you're a Chamber of Commerce? Well, you kick into gear and you hook up with the programs that are going, and our chamber had the privilege of working with the Manitoba chambers to facilitate delivering the Shop Local grants to the community. And in Neepawa's case, we distributed over $10,000 during those 2 years in Shop Local funds. And then Barb retired, and we had our first year back in business in 2022. And there was many firsts, and there was a lot of firsts for me, and it was a big learning curve because there were a lot of things we hadn't done and things I hadn't seen because I hadn't lived in Neepawa for 20 years. So one of the first things that happened was we had our first fair again last year, and it was a great success, and I want to thank people like High Life and Neepawa Co-op and many more sponsors that joined up, hooked up, and helped us put on the fair last year. And no one had done it for so long, and there was lots of things we didn't, get right, but we're working on it. We're planning it already. We hope to have one this year. And I know that Rotary had the shelter box tent set up, and so hopefully we can do something with you folks again this year at the fair. Thousands of people attended that weekend, and it is the biggest fundraiser for Chamber that helps us keep going all year. And it's possible because of our members. And sometimes people ask, what does a Chamber of Commerce do, or why should we be part of one? And being part of things like the fair is how people in the community see your name, they see your advertisements, they see you there with your tents. And being part of a chamber facilitates all that networking, that community awareness. It gives you marketing opportunities. Being in the chamber gets you into our directory, our advertising, and all those sorts of things. Part of being in the chamber is about advocacy, and I'm sure the Rotary people know a lot about those kinds of things. Our voices together add power. And one of the big things that we did in 2022 was we were part of the Manitoba Chamber's Advocacy Day in the legislature in Winnipeg. And that was a really exciting first opportunity for me. So we went to Winnipeg, we got to meet with about 14 different MLAs. And I'm pleased to say that Neepawa was brought up a lot in those conversations. I raised some questions to them about our highways, the type of things that were going on, what the plans for the future were. There was a lot of talk about the new hospital. And it was just a really interesting opportunity to meet our government and advocate for the businesses here in Neepawa. And that's something that we would really like to do more of. And when I was there, we had the finance minister come to one of our meetings. And he said, I don't know what I don't know. And his biggest request to the chambers was, have your people email us, call us, tell us what they need. Because if we don't know that your community is in need of something, we can't plan for it, facilitate for it. And so that's something as a chamber we want to do more of. We want to do more advocacy, and we want our businesses and chamber members to reach out and let us know what you need, because we don't know what we don't know. And so I would encourage you, if there's anything that chamber can do to help Rotary, to reach out to me, send me an email. If you have things you want in our newsletter, let me know, and we'll try to get that out for you. Networking, we have Business After 5 events, and we're working on getting those more well attended too. So chamber members will have a Business After 5 that will have coffee and drinks, networking opportunities, explain a little bit about their business. And we had 3 of those last year, and they were well attended, and I think they're going to be more attended more in the future. We also partner with tourism, and we do workshops with them. Usually they're held here at Arts Forward. We had one on dealing with difficult situations in the workplace. We have customer service ones, we have self-improvement ones. And so anyone who is a member of tourism and a member of chamber can go to those free of charge. If you're just a chamber member, I think you also have to be a tourism member to be able to attend those. And then one of the other things we have is benefits. Another reason to join the chambers for the benefits. And we have a group insurance plan. So businesses from as little as 1 or 2 employees up to many can get dental and eyeglasses and all those sorts of things. And you don't have to be a business to have a chamber membership, and you don't have to be, you can be a nonprofit or an individual, and you can access those type of benefits. And there's then partnerships with Purelator and Esso Gas, and those are all kinds of benefit discounts that you can get as part of the chamber as well. There was a study done by Frank Kenny in the States that said consumers are 44% more likely to think highly of a business if they're a chamber member, and 63% more likely to buy from one. So that's another really good statistic to let people know, because you're adding your voice. We're the voice of business, and they'll go to our directory. We can see statistics on that. How many times people are going to our website, how much time they're spending looking at our directory. So those are a couple of good reasons why you should partner up and join up with your local chamber. Over the summer, we also had our second annual restaurant showcase. So the first year we did it, restaurants weren't technically open, they were takeout. And we only had 3 restaurants. And last year we had 9. So anyone that eats a meal at one of our local restaurants, their name goes in a draw for $100 worth of chamber bucks. And there was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of entries in 2022. And we're so excited, and we're hoping that we can get a few more little local restaurants to join us on that, and maybe we can make it an annual event. And speaking of chamber bucks, last year we handed out over $6,000 worth of chamber bucks. And that kept that money in our local communities and in our local businesses. And our Chamber Bucks program is really growing. And then lastly, we had our Parade of Lights just a few months ago. And I want to thank Bob and Wayne, because I couldn't have done it without you guys. They helped me with the parade lineup. And it was amazing. We had 21 participants, and there was hundreds of people in attendance. And I think it was really good, and hopefully we'll make it better and better going forward. And just like you folks, we're always looking for volunteers and facing the challenges of finding volunteers and facing the challenges of growing membership. And so if you come up with any way to do that, let me know, because I haven't figured it out yet. Yeah, we're looking for new members. We're looking to recruit younger people too and get volunteers and yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about that. If there's any questions or anything anybody would like to know, or yeah.
You mentioned that you had meetings with various ministers, and I think one of them you said was the Minister of Highways. And I know that the highway situation around the new hospital is completely a different animal. But was there any conversation about the highway going through Neepawa with respect to, and maybe this is a question for Brian, I don't know, but with respect to the widening of the double lanes and a median and the addition of 1 or 2 sets of lights?
So I asked him specifically about that. He said that right now they're still doing traffic plan modeling, and we're on their radar for that. And I said, well, we're going to have more vehicles. The hospital is going to be built up by High Life in the future. How is the province monitoring that to see at what point they'll give us more lights? And he basically just said that they're still in the collecting data on all that stuff. But as a chamber, that kind of thing is something that maybe we can write a letter and put all our, we have 108 members now. We can put those names behind something like that. He focused a lot on the number 34, improvements on the number 34. So, because we had a few chambers, like Carberry was there, Austin Gladstone was there. There was a few other smaller chambers there talking about highways, and we only had about 20 minutes with each minister, and he mentioned repairs on 34, and that was his big sort of thing that they were going to be doing.
Well, 34 now is like the Indianapolis 500. Beautiful brand new highway. But number 5 highway from here to at least.
And he did mention, I think there's bridges or something somewhere along there, or there is a bridge that's going to be redone somewhere along there on the number 5.
Maybe
curve. Yeah. So there was a little bit of talk, but it was mostly between Neepawa and Carberry and 34 improvements, more improvements to 34. So, and he talked a lot about bridges, that there was bridges that hadn't been worked on in a long while. So
no murmuring or rumors about bypasses.
No. Because I specifically said, we have a highway that goes through our town, and we have kids that are going to school, and if we're getting bigger, because they estimated that we would grow in the next 5 years, I said, like, how do you watch? And basically that's when they complimented our town office. They complimented our CA, And they said specifically that they had good relationships with Neepawa Town and that they would be in communications. And Neepawa was mentioned a couple of times with different ministers for different reasons. The immigration minister also had a lot of things to say about Neepawa, and he was wonderful. He loves it. He loves to come to Neepawa and comes to the Filipino Heritage Day, and so he had lots of positive things to say about getting the credentials for our immigrants, having a better program. So if they come here and they have nursing or engineering or doctor's certificates, to work with the colleges of physicians and nurses to get those people's credentials, get them requalified here in Canada. So, and chambers can we can add our names to all those lists to get those services in our community. So there was good discussions of that. Anything else?
How many businesses are members of the chamber?
We have 108, but I have potentially one more joining in the next week. So we'll be 109. I'm hoping for 109.
Then the next question is how many aren't haven't joined yet? I mean, you haven't been at the job that long. So
Yeah.
it really.
I don't know. I'm thinking probably it's maybe, you could probably do that number again. There's probably over 200 businesses in Neepawa.
And we're talking
district.
And
Yeah.
district.
Yeah. So we kind of run, I think, sort of between here and Gladstone. I don't know where that dividing line is. And then the same way, I don't know where the dividing line is before we hit Minnedosa, but we have a few outlying.
And if you go north, I don't know if those businesses have found a need to be part of. There are a lot of small businesses.
I think everybody kind of from St. Rose upwards
Yeah,
goes
I'm
to
talking
Dauphin.
immediate
And
north, I'm talking
Yeah.
Rosedale.
yeah. And I think we have in the past had a few businesses from Gelwood and Riding Mountain, but nothing on the books right now. Anything else? Yeah.
With respect to, in the context of shopping within Neepawa, does the chamber do any kind of like needs analysis with respect to, like I'm thinking of like a menswear store or a sporting goods store? Do you play a very active role in trying to attract things that people might go outside of town to look for?
We try to, we have a business survey that we do with tourism in the summertime. And they put those sorts of questions in that survey. We don't necessarily put that, we haven't, at least at this point, put that out to the general public to say kind of what would you like to see come to Neepawa. That's a good suggestion though, that we include, because our tourism business survey usually just goes out to members. So it's not going to general public, but yeah, that might be something our summer student can help us do.
This is maybe an obvious, you're able to work with our economic development officer then.
Yeah.
I think she's on board.
Yeah, she is on
Where
board.
she's able, so.
Yeah. And if we hear things, we definitely would try to promote that and encourage people to do that.
Any other questions? Comments? Well, Jennifer, thank you very much.
Okay.
You brought a lot of information to us to digest and
Thank you.
see where we might want to fit in, and I know a number of our members are chamber members, so
Yeah.
on behalf of the Rotary Club, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Rob, for
Yeah.
having me. Oh, thank you.
Little pen that will work for a while.